Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star and one of the producers of City Island, Andy Garcia.
Yes, thank you for coming out. There's a nice crowd. Raymond DiFelito, the director, who's represented by my same agency, which is Paradigm. And my agent calls, says, I read the script, it's really beautiful. The director wants to, wants to send it to you, and he also will see if you want to play the part. And it's if you would like to produce the movie with him, he would be, available and honored to do that. And I said, okay. Because my agent has been I've been with him for a long time, and I really trust his taste. He's an old-time theatrical guy, and he knows my taste. And usually when he says something like that, I know that it's something I should pay attention to. And I read the script, and I was completely charmed by completely stimulated and charmed by the movie, just like hopefully what you guys were today. It was all there on the page, It was still.
You're a writer, director, and producer. Giving notes like that and identifying with.
I'm also a pretty good golfer, by the way.
Okay.
I just want to say
Let's add that. Okay.
Just wanna-
Do you find yourself seeing your roles differently now as you did before you experienced some of the additional roles?
Very early on, when I began to, I always had the conceit of wanting to be a filmmaker, from very early on. And I was always for some reason, I was always very attracted to, the independent film. There was something about it, the sense of the authorship, or like the private process of it, or like just kind of being out there. I've never really considered myself someone really like in the system. And I've been blessed to be part of the system, but I've never really considered myself to be really in the system. Okay. And I don't know why, but that's just the way I feel, and like I said, I'm blessed to be included in it occasionally, but I've never really felt as I've ever really been inside the circle.
No, why is that?
I don't know. I'm just telling you the way I feel, So, but I was always very attracted to Cassavetes and, the independent, the nature of these, or European films. It was just something that's kind of like a sensibility, something that just was identified with. So when I've gotten the opportunity, as I began to get, blessed with working in the industry and all that, and then having an opportunity to be able to get something off the ground as a producer or as a director or whatever, that was something that was very exciting to me. The fact that we can go off and make a little movie on our own and then see what happens, see who buys it, and that kind of thing. That to me was very exciting. Right now, I'm remembering a story that I was at the country school in the valley where my kids were going to preschool, and there was a young writer-director named Richard Wank who had a child in school with me, and we would sit down as the kids were playing in the playground, and he said, no, I'm a writer, I'm a this and that, and in the schoolyard, he said to me, I go, what are you doing? Are you writing something? He goes, well, I've written this script about a guy who used to live with me, and was very close to my wife, and he's a ticket scalper. I go, wow, that's very interesting. He goes, he's a ticket scalper. I mean, he makes a living scalping tickets. He goes, yeah, he's a ticket scalper, and he's got this thing, and with his dog, and and he's very closed-minded, and he's very antisocial. He's not a really social guy. He's kind of like doesn't really fit in anywhere, but he's got a great heart. But and he can't have a relationship with a woman because he's like really inept at that. But he's so lovable the woman can't shake him. I'm going, this is a really interesting thing. And I said, well, how would you want to shoot that movie? He goes, oh, I like to shoot it like I'm a big fan of Cassavetes and that, and I like to shoot it like. And I said, what about if we shoot it like with like hidden cameras on the street with like real scalping amongst real people? And he says, yeah, that's how I want to shoot it. And I said, what if we go out and shoot some footage for your movie? And I'll go out and scalp some tickets, and we'll play around and see what comes out. And maybe, by this time I had read the script, and it was really beautiful script. And so, and then we got this. I tell this story, and I just thought about it because you asked me about me, and I guess this is about as closest to me as I could tell you. I went to Paramount, which I had a good relationship at the time with, and the head of post-production gave me a camera and some short end footage that was left over from other movies. Then I talked to Ridley Scott, who I knew, and said, I need a cinematographer. I want to shoot this footage, we want to shoot. And he said, try this guy, Michael Givens, he's great, and he came out. So we went, me and Richard, and myself, an actor by the name of Fred Asparagus, who's no longer with us, and a hat that I had in my mini collection of hats that I thought was right for the character. And we went out in the morning, and we shot a couple scenes from the script with me and Fred, who was like my sidekick. And one of the scenes is a scene where he dies, and I find him dead. And then and we shot in downtown LA all day long, in the middle of the sort of like rush hour, long lens, crowded people, and me and Fred having a scene screaming at each other. All these scenes were later recreated in the movie we made with a different actor, but the same style. And later on in the movie with Richard Bradford, a great actor, in New York. And then by the end of the day, we were at the Pantages Theater across the street, shooting from inside a van with a long lens as I was scalping tickets to the Les Miserables. And I would be scalping tickets for real, and they'd be stealing shots. And we made a little short film that ended up being our show reel when we started to raise money for the movie. But as we were doing that, about at 10 o'clock that morning when we started, we were in downtown LA, there was no cell phones in those days or anything like that. And our little line producer that we had was a friend of ours. There's like 5 of us in this crew. I had one of those old phones that were like, there was like almost like a weapon, they were like this big, those Motorola phones. And he got a call, and he says, your agent is trying to reach you. It's very important. She needs to talk to you right away. And I said, my agent right now, I'm making a movie here, And so she says, there's a break in the thing. I think we were having a sandwich, and I called him, and I go, hi, how you doing? He goes, where you been? God, I've been trying to call you since 7 o'clock this morning. I go, what's the matter? He goes, you've been nominated for an Oscar.
Wow.
And I said, oh, okay, where you been? Everybody wants to talk to you. They need to talk to you right away. And I said, I can't talk to anybody. I'm making a movie. So I guess that's kind of, that's who I am. I guess that's I don't know why I thought of that, but that's basically it. That, and it is what it is. It's just about the work, and these movies provide you an opportunity to do the work in the manner you want to do it. With after everybody turns you down. I mean, City Island, we brought the script out. We had Julian, we had this cast, Alan, friends of mine that I called and all that. We submitted it to every studio in town before we made everybody passed. We made the movie for $6 million in 27 days. We premiered it at the, God, it's so depressing. No, I only say this because there's a lot of people in the industry here, and it's like a learning thing, We showed the movie at Tribeca. We had to show it like 8 times in the festival. We won the audience award. Every single studio passed. And then Anchor Bay picked it up. We were lucky that one guy, Kevin Kasha, who saw a screener and said, this movie's available? And he kind of rallied everybody in the we got to pay attention to this movie, and we got picked up. Don't ask me why, whatever. You guys saw the movie, you could pass your own judgment. But it's the nature of I don't know what it is about our business these days, but that a movie like this, in the 70s, it would have been a studio movie. And now Midnight Cowboy would be an independent movie, and so would Taxi Driver, and so would Coming Home, and so would Nashville, and so would Harold and Maude, and all those great movies of the 70s. They probably would all be The Graduate, an independent movie.